Hi guys, it's Ruthie with the Purple Backyard Farm. And the other day I was on the phone with my son and my hair was just getting too raggy, so I decided to cut it. But I wanted to do a quick video about ways you can save some money now during this time where everybody has a stay-at-home thing. One way is to cut everyone in your family's own hair. And it kind of gives you a good excuse because you can't go to hairdressers. So it's a good time to practice. I'll give you a couple tips on that and a few other ways you can save money during this time. And actually forever. I used to spend, a lot of money on my hair. It would be nothing for me to spend $100 to get my hair cut. So what you do basically is, depending on your hair type, like mine is straight in the front, real curly in the back, curly in the front, it's all over. So for me personally, it's better to cut my hair dry. That's not always the best for some, but I do that because when I dry my hair, some parts of it are shorter than others and it's really noticeable. But if you cut your hair, just cut a little tiny bit to get started on cutting everybody, and just kind of take your fingers and have like the same length, like all over the head. Like cut off that much, whatever you're going to cut. Like, so at the end here, if you're going to cut, just cut the little tippy ends. And, practice on everybody in your family. Don't be cutting good big chunks. And that's how people end up looking funny. The other thing is, once you cut it, you cut straight up with the scissors all around. And that gives it, like, it lays nicer. Now, that's one thing you can do. And once you start cutting your own hair, it's like anything else. The more you do yourself, you're going to be better than somebody else experimenting on you that has never seen you before. And you'll say, you'll learn little tips to make your hair look nicer. Yes, you might not have the right tools, but in a pinch, you can give yourself little trims even between haircuts. The other thing I was going to encourage you to do is something that Clay and I've done for years. And it's something you can even encourage your neighbors to do, is if you have things you don't want, rather than even just giving them to the rescue mission and stuff, if you don't have a spot to dump them, just put them to the front of your house and write free. And encourage your friends and neighbors to do that and exchange things with other people, because sometimes people don't want to go to the stores or pick up things, and you might have things outside that maybe people need. And we have done that for years, and people, it's funny because we'll meet people and they'll say, I picked up things at your house before. And I always laugh because people that know, they'll stop and look through the boxes because they've gotten some things like a bunch of party light things that were worth like $100 each and things like that. Because if it's not going to be useful in my house, I just want it gone. And so that's something to do. And I'm not too prideful to take things from other people. So if a friend says to me, hey, Ruthie, do you want this or that? If it's something I need, I'll take it, and learn to kind of do that on the side, because I just think that some families have it hard different times, and you never know with what's going on if your job's going to shut down, if they're going to change things up for you. So learn to be like your grandmother, resourceful in and of yourself. Do as much as you can for yourself. And don't be like, well, I have to buy this and I have to get this. Also learn to, have a little bit ahead, like your meals and things like that. And learn to be creative with your meals, because there might be times that maybe for some reason you can't get to the store. And because it is winter too, I was just talking to a friend of mine that was older and her husband was going through some stuff. And I said, one thing I learned, because my husband's a diabetic and has been in the hospital for a while, is to always have lots of things on hand. Because if I can't get somewhere because he's in the hospital for some reason or other, like maybe I'm home taking care of him. Like I've had to stay home with Clay for like months after he had a big infection from his diabetes. And then I can go to the cupboard and make what he needs. So if you have canned soups, you don't have to can and do all that. You can just like buy over the counter stuff. And when you do shop like that, get things you like. Don't sit there and think volume. Think, what will my family really eat? Tuna fish, soups, canned meats are good. Don't get things like 50 pounds of rice. I'm talking like the average Joe, because you're not going to really maybe cook that and be realistic. It ended up sitting on the counter for a year and you'll toss it out. We live in a modern age where you can get things that are canned up good. Just every week take a little bit extra off your paycheck, and then if you get too much, you'll have it for the year. because it takes a long time to go through a lot of food, believe me. And I mean, we stock enough always in our family for at least 6 months. You don't want to get too much because then it ends up in the garbage can, and you don't want to get things, like I said, that you really don't eat. So think practical, things that you can make in a pinch, and not a lot of work. May I emphasize that? Not a lot of work, because the reality is when you're tired and you've been working all day, you're not going to want to sit down and cook, you know, 50 pounds of potatoes and things like that. So I hope that these tips help you. I hope it makes you think about your family, be practical, and remember, big or small, you too can be a backyard farm. God bless.